This weekend, there was a lot of conversations happening. A lot of conversations were happening specifically about Target. Why? Because Target decided that they were going to put this out there. They said Target is going to end programs that focus on promoting diversity, fairness, and inclusion within the company. Many years of data, insights, listening, and learning have been shaping this next chapter in our strategy. And as a retailer, that serves millions of consumers every day, we understand the importance of staying in step with the evolving landscape. But then they also added, we're going to end a program focused on carrying more Black products from Black or minority-owned businesses. So this made people very quickly say, we targeting boycotting because we boycotting Target, okay? And the response to me made sense. This same response happened when Walmart said the same thing. However, the response from several Black retailers whose products are in Target was to ask their supporters to continue to shop there, but only to buy their products. And of course, there were some who said specifically, like, can you just do it in the interim until we identify another way of getting you guys our items? So this has created a bit of a kerfuffle. And there's also been people naming many reasons why there should not be a boycott at Target. Now, as a kid, my mom used to always say that I had an answer for everything. So I decided that the best way for me to share my thoughts on this was to slip into the mindset of 10-year-old Manda and speak to these excuses with the quickness in response that 10-year-old Manda would have, because 10-year-old Manda is really not hearing it. Okay, 10-year-old Manda is like, I think that we are going to need to be a little bit more thoughtful in our questioning of these things. And so 10-year-old Manda is about to step into the arena and give you all her point of view on these ideas that people are stating as why we shouldn't boycott. But Black brands in Target will lose money. Okay, so like, yes, Black brands in Target will lose money, but the reality is that if you're giving money to Target, even if it's for Black brands, you're still giving money to Target. And the whole point is to Target not giving money to Target. So for Black brands, yes, they would lose money, but it should be for the greater good, because the greater good is saying no money going to Target. But y'all are on these apps. How is that different? Well, because on these apps, many of us are interacting with each other for free. We are not actively providing them with money. Now, of course, when we are on the apps, they are putting up ads and they're saying with these ads that, we are watching them, so that gets money. So it is actually something they're making money off of, but not in the same way as our hard-earned cash coming out of our pockets and going to be hard-earned cash going into their pockets. So it's not really the same thing. And I would consider this to be a false equivalency. So I don't think that this is a fair comparison for you to be making if you're going to be saying that going to Target is the same thing as going on Instagram. Well, this is what the stores want.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why people keep saying this is what the stores want, because really the stores want money. And if Black people are the number one consumers in the nation, then if they said they don't want to give them their money, then that would mean that that's not what the stores want. So I don't know. I feel like people think that the stores are doing this because the stores don't want Black people. But the truth is, the stores just don't want Donald Trump to be mad at them. And the stores also just don't want Black people to think that they have any power over them. But really, they will take Black money any day of the week, because they will take any kind of money, since money is not Black, money is green. So when they're saying, oh, this is what the stores want, I just think that they're really saying that because they can't think of any other reason. But the truth is, the stores do not want you to boycott because the stores want your money.
Okay, smarty Amanda. Well, this is an emotional reaction.
I mean, yeah. Duh. What's wrong with that? I think it's an emotional reaction because people are really sad and frustrated that they're constantly being put to the side and that they're constantly being ignored by a government and by stores that they constantly support. So there's nothing wrong with an emotional reaction as long as it's being fueled into an actual intentional response. And a boycott is an intentional response. An actual emotional reaction that people would have a problem with is if people got mad and then went and busted up the Targets, right? If people went and busted up the Targets, you guys would be like, oh my God, that's an emotional reaction. So it seems like any reaction that is the people saying that they're not going to do something, any reaction that is the people coming together and stopping behavior that they have done that uplifted a space, that is something you guys call an emotional reaction. And strategy doesn't always have to happen because of making other people comfortable. A lot of times when people pause to do strategy, it actually gives the powers that be the time to break people up. So, like, duh.
Well, y'all can't stick to no boycott.
I guess I don't know why people say stuff like this, because I just feel like from what I look at with my friends, we can stick to stuff if it makes sense for us. You know, like when it was like a whole situation on the playground and they were saying that we could not do double dutch, then we all just decided that we're just not going to play. And then the teachers were like, wait a minute, like you all have to play. It's a part of our rules that you have to play. And we were like, no, we're not going to play if we can't play the way we want to play. And they were like, well, no, you have to play. It's like, no, you can't make us play. And so we just decided that we weren't going to play and we stuck to it. And then they were like, oh, okay, fine. You could do double dutch. And then we got to do double dutch. So I just think it's really finding something that enough people care really a lot about and you can make them stick to it. Also, you don't need everybody to boycott. You don't need everybody to march. You just need enough to disrupt. This is really fun. Thanks for bringing me your child, Amanda, back out here. Thanks, guys.
The young seals. The brilliant young seals, y'all. Show her love. Show her love. The brilliant young seals came through. Came through to give y'all the answers to the questions you've been asking. You know, let's talk a little bit about boycotts right quick. So, one of the earliest examples of a successful campaign was the boycott in England of sugar produced by slaves. In 1791, after Parliament refused to abolish slavery, thousands of pamphlets were printed encouraging the boycott. Sales of sugar dropped between a third and a half. Because successful boycotts rely on damaging both the sales and image of the offending company, the visibility of violations is important. And now we have these phones. We have the ability to actually capture the reasons why we're boycotting. Now, according to Institute for Policy Research, Braden King, a professor of management and organizations, boycotts can still be effective. He finds that while boycotts rarely hurt revenue,
They can threaten a company's reputation, especially by generating negative media coverage. The number one predictor of what makes a boycott effective is how much media attention it creates, not how many people sign on to a petition or how many consumers it mobilizes. Now, we know this, and we have seen this in a number of different ways. In South Africa, so much of the reason apartheid eventually came to an end was because they were able to get eyes on South Africa. When Martin Luther King Jr. came to Selma, Alabama, Bloody Sunday was what pushed the Voting Rights Act to end up being passed, because his presence there enacted the video, enacted the networks to come. And so now Americans had to see, oh, they really beating up black folks over there. What's scary to me is that even in an era where we're seeing Palestinians actually document their own G-side, people are kind of like, that I can't relate to. But we do have the means, and we do have other sources of media, which is why they are actively trying to change TikTok to be owned and operated and watched by a U.S. government-based company, Oracle. Now, places that are keeping their DEI initiatives. Are you ready? Because I didn't make a graphic, so you're going to need to listen. Places that are keeping their DEI initiatives: Goldman Sachs, Costco, JP Morgan Chase, whose actual chairman and CEO, Jamie Dimon, said, we're going to continue to reach out to the Black community, the Hispanic community, the LGBT community, the veterans community. Now, I don't really rock with the banks, but I thought that was quite a stance to take. And that's a white man. Okay. Elf makeup products, Costco, Meijer, Giant Grocery, Ben & Jerry's, Ulta, Macy's, Old Navy, Nordstrom's, TJ Maxx, Go-To Foods, which owns Moe's Southwest Grill, McAllister's, Auntie Anne's, Jamba, and Cinnabon, as well as Dollar Tree, Walgreens, Wegmans. All of these are companies that have said they're going to stick to their DEI policies. Now, that does not mean that they may not also be on the BDS list, okay? So there is a possibility that one thing is canceling the other thing out. But just in the specific sector of DEI, these are all the companies that are going to continue their DEI policies. So this brings us to boycott or not to boycott. I'll just say this. There are those that want to see capitalism disbanded, because we know that capitalism as it exists ignores the will of the people, and it ignores the wealth and health of the people. Capitalism is only built to serve the folks who have been able to capitalize on it. And so often, the only way to capitalize within capitalism is to harm or to suppress and oppress other people. Thus, when we talk about Black Wall Street and Durham and these Black economic spaces, these are enclaves of these are enclaves of Black economic growth that were really examples of socialism, because they were communities that did not have the ability to exist outside of their spaces in the way that integration allowed for. The government wouldn't support them. They had to pool their resources. Those with the most had to support the most. And I've been saying for years upon years upon years that they are pushing us back into segregation. And they are. And so the reality, though, is that you can either get pushed into this kicking and screaming, or you can come intentional and purposeful. But that's what they're doing. Now, I saw someone ask, how do we boycott with the least amount of harm? And I don't think this is the right question to ask. The truth of the matter is, and this is going to be a difficult truth,
Actually, let me just get into my public seals announcement right quick. I enjoyed laughing and learning with you. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And tell your friends. Also, listen to the podcast. It's available everywhere pods are casted. Listen ad-free by subscribing to Patreon Amanda Seals. Come on and join the Seals Squad. Views from Amandaland. Live 10 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Wednesday, with content on Thursday and Friday at YouTube Amanda Seals TV.